Hello, I'm Larry. I'm an alcoholic. You sit on the toilet, don't you? Use that as your meditation.
I'm Rob. I'm also an alcoholic. Not our wives. Nobody listening to this podcast has eaten a shit sandwich. They didn't have a hand to make it.
Welcome back to Recovery Unfiltered. You can reach us at recoveryunfilteredpodcast at gmail.com.
Keep in mind, we are not affiliated with any alphabet people. AA, NACA, PhD, LSD, STD, you name it. We are not affiliated with it. We are just two drunks with awesome guests and
a whole lot to say.
Well, sometimes.
We got back in the studio with us again today. We got Brad. We drug him back in here. We like Brad in here because he's a balance between the two of us. You got the midget over there who's all the way dug into it. You got me that likes to
big.
You got me that likes to talk all the fucking time, but Brad keeps us kind of in the middle here. Welcome back, Brad.
I like arguing with Rob.
Rob's fun to argue with.
You just like, we'll get me worked up and see the stick come out. And
I like that thumper come out of him. Boy, it says right here, you are wrong.
The big book thumper comes out in him and we're all in trouble. That's funny.
Could you imagine, though, being back in the 30s, 40s and him hanging out with Bill and
Dr. Bob?
Dr. Bob. And we'll see Rob on him.
Hey, we were trying to figure out something to record. Rob said, you know what? How about I'm just going to throw out some questions and you and Brad answer them. So, hey, fuck it. Let's see what happens. You know, here's the other thing I want to remind everybody. December 20th, Rob and I are going to be on Sober But Not Mature. It's another podcast. Where they at? They're in Michigan. They're in Michigan. Right. They're couple guys just like us. We got together, a couple buddies.
Don't insult them like that. That's bullshit. They don't.
What?
A couple guys like us.
Well,
they may be a lot better than we are. I'm sure.
Well, they're a couple drunks like us that like to talk about their recovery and their sobriety, and they're fun. They're very fun. Their podcast is fun. They don't get real serious about this and remind everybody that recovery is fun.
You tell me I'm too serious sometimes?
Dude, they listen to, the guy I was talking to, apparently they listened to a couple episodes. They go, yeah, you guys will fit right in with us.
So in our literature, there's all kinds of promises. After every step, there's a promise. The only ones we read in the rooms, you'll read the 9th step promises. Actually, the 10th step promises are better in my opinion. However, that is my opinion. That's not in the book. So as you go through the 9th step, right, there's certain ways that you go through it. And here's the end of it. You know, when we approach people, we should be sensible, tactful, considerate, and humble without being servile or scraping. As God's people, we stand on our feet. We don't crawl before anyone. That's the last 3 sentences before we read, if we are painstaking. So it is, if we are, let's talk about the 9th step. If we are painstaking about this phase, the 9th step phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom. And that new freedom, of course, if you go back to page 62, the bottom of 62 is with that arch, we walk through freedom. That's freedoms from the bondage of self. But here we go. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it.
What page is that on?
83.
Okay, well, I want our listeners to hear.
Do you guys regret the past? Now, that's something I do regret the past. I can't shut the door on it because I've used my past to help other men. Do you guys regret the past?
I regret some of the things I've done, but I look back at it today, where I sit today, that I am thankful for where I am today. And if I didn't do some of that shit that I have done in my life, that I don't know where I'd be sitting at today,
Okay.
One of the things...
Not proud of it.
Right. One of the things I heard Dennis Hopper say one time is he was asked that question, do you have regrets? And he says, no, I don't. I don't have any regrets, right? Because I've let it all go. Right? If I held on to those things, that means I'm holding on to shit that I shouldn't be holding on to. So no, I don't have regrets. Do I have shit that I wish I hadn't have done? Do I have people I hurt that I wish I hadn't have hurt? But I don't have regrets. Right? I can't live with regrets.
Is the difference so would the difference be? If we're going to call it regret, something that we continue, something from our past that we keep beating ourselves up with. Would we consider that a regret? Because we all have things we don't want to do or wish we hadn't hurt.
I want to be careful on Brad or Rob. You bring up a good point. I spent a shitload of money buying a trucking company that I shouldn't have done and put my family into a shitload of debt that I shouldn't have done. Now, did it grow me in a way? Absolutely, it did. Right? It made me a different person. I saw some things that I didn't like. In fact, it was honestly the beginning of the turning point where my alcohol really got bad, is when I lost, I didn't lose it, when my partner and I split up on that, my alcohol took on a whole other level, right? After I took that, because I thought I had failed, right? So do you guys think regret means, I mean, because the definition of regret that we got, from Webster's is a feeling of sadness, repentance, or disappointment over something that has happened or been done. Do you think they meant it, kind of like this is written in 35 to 39. Right.
Do you regret the past? Now, why I'm asking this question. Because anybody says, because for me, when I hear people say, I don't regret anything that I did, I'm just, because God couldn't have gotten me to this point without.
No, I know what you're getting at, Rob, but I think
is there regret when someone beats himself up with it? Like I heard in the rooms on Saturday.
I don't beat myself up.
No, I'm not saying you. Do you regret the past?
No, I don't. Not 1 ounce of it. I don't. I can't have regrets. I've learned everything I've done, all the bad that I did in my life back before I got sober was, I want to be careful I say this because I know where you're going, molded me to where I am. Do I wish some of it wouldn't have happened? I do.
Okay.
I really do. I wish something, but I don't regret. I don't have that. I can't have.
See,
I asked my sponsor.
To me, that sounds like we're
semantics.
Semantics.
But hold on a second, because I'm going to dig into something my sponsor, and I'm going to go back to this. When I was very, very young, right out of mine, I talked to you, Rob, one day about my own the resentments I had at me.
Right. My
own personal. I hated myself. Now I'm going to get emotional. God damn it. I hated myself for some of the shit.
Cuss God about it.
Hey, I swore I was going to get emotional, but I was very angry with myself because I had went through all the amends with all the people that I had hurt. Right.
To the best of your ability.
Right. I had done all that. But how was I supposed to do an amends to myself? Right. That's what I was struggling with.
You're going to find some people in the rooms that say you shouldn't be on your resentment list. You shouldn't even be on your amends list. I disagree with that. I think you should be on both, to be quite honest.
But how do you go about doing that?
Making amends to yourself?
Right. Is it that letting go of the regrets? I had to.
I think once you get through the steps and you do, a lot of the steps is all your prior fucking damage, all right? Get through that shit.
Right.
Get some tools in your toolbox.
Oh, yeah.
You can't change the past.
No.
You could try to clean it up
to the best
a little bit.
Best of your ability.
That's our amends. Fucking fix it.
No, that's our amends.
And then from this point on,
right,
you live life where you don't have to have fucking regrets.
Right.
Because the ones you're going to make now are the ones I think are going to really affect you as
100%.
you're sober and you're trying to do the right thing.
Right.
So the carnage behind you is behind you. It's you got to live life today.
Right.
We're not living tomorrow.
But we're
not living yesterday. We're living today. So if we make the right choices today, we don't have to fucking regret it tomorrow.
But we do every day what we did at the end of 30 years or 20 years of drinking, right? We do that every day. And at the end of the day, I look back and go, what did I do today? Did I hurt somebody? Did I talk to somebody wrong? We do it every day.
Well, that's just our inventory. Can we ask you another question?
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
You don't poo-poo that. It's our inventory, but it's no different than what we're talking about right there. We went back and cleaned up our past.
To the best of our ability.
To the best of our ability. That's the inventory, right? That's our inventory. That's our regrets. That's our resentments at the end of the day. When it hits us, we have to take care of it right away. When I had regrets and resentments when I was drinking, I just drank about it.
Right. That's why we drink.
My point is what I'm saying is now we do that every day as we go along. And that says it right in our book. As we go along, we do these steps.
Page 8045.
That's right. But that's what I'm saying. That's why we don't get those resentments daily. That's
because
why we
don't
work
through them and we
correct. That's what I was trying to say.
Now, the next question, Brad. This is going on with the promises. Okay, we know it not. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. What is the difference between serenity and peace? Anybody? What does that mean to you? Okay, serenity. I couldn't even spell that fucking word when I got here. But
serenity.
But the first time I was sitting in the bathtub, not eating Cheetos like Larry does. But I do like I just got done working out because I got back in the gym after I got sober. Really, in the garage, soaking in some Epsom salt, and I was just sitting there, and then this feeling came over me that I haven't.
It's called a hard-on.
No. Hey, I wasn't shaking hands with Shorty. And the feeling, I'd never felt this before.
Right.
It was so strong that I got up out of the bathtub, threw a towel around me, went and got my phone, called my sponsor. Hey, I need to talk to you right now. It was Jay at the time. Come on over, son. drove over to his house.
Did you put clothes on?
Yes, just shorts and a t-shirt, and that's it. No. And I was over to his house, and I started describing what I'd felt, this feeling. He said, young man, that's serenity. He said, son, that's serenity. That's what you're feeling.
Total peace.
Is that, are they one and the same?
I look at them as the same. I do.
Talk to me, Brad.
Well, when I was drinking, I knew what peace was, which I thought was, I had it here and there, but, I didn't have serenity until I got sober. Right? I got true peace and,
Do you think serenity is a deeper layer of peace? Is that how you're looking at it?
Yeah.
Okay. I would agree with that. I mean,
and not letting people ruin it, you know?
Right. I think serenity is in the moment and peace is because we just talked about we'll not regret the past or we'll just shut the door. And I think serenity is in the moment. Right. Peace is with the past. I've got peace with where I'm at, the journey coming. That's kind of how I see it.
I mean, I like what I don't want to say how I put that, but it was just kind of, I thought about that when Brad said what he said, but peace is a certain thing that you get. I'm at peace with driving down the road. Everything's going good, right? You don't have cars, running.
And that necessarily doesn't mean everything is going good, but I have peace about
what's happening what's going on right now. I have peace. Serenity is just a deeper level of it, right? And when I feel myself losing that serenity, and I can't function well. I got to figure out what's wrong with it. It's one of the big reasons why I left the last company I was with. I just couldn't get it. I couldn't find it anymore.
Well, Brad got me out of mine on what day we do burritos? Friday. And I was talking again. I don't realize sometimes.
He was trying to lie to me.
As I get, I don't know. I'm venting as I think I'm venting. He's like, Rob, calm down. You get yourself worked up. I'm not worked up. My blood pressure's not, but I can't hear myself as he can hear me.
Right.
And realized that. So as I left, I wonder
where I learned it from.
Well, I said the other day.
I had to start thumping on that book, and I had to get back into serenity. And I had to get back into peace with whatever's going on.
Somebody argue with you, and you're letting somebody take rent in your head.
Yes, I was allowing it. Then once I start praying on that, and I start praying for that person, for them to have everything that I want, then I'm at peace with where I'm at. I'm at peace with the situation. Right. Then serenity can come back to me.
I didn't even use the word serenity until I got sober.
Right. I didn't know what it was.
I use it all the time.
I'm with you, Brad. I didn't even know what that word is. And now
serene. The only time I heard of serene was would be a picture,
flowing,
or a river or something. No, that's serene.
Yeah, that's the last tattoo I'm having. In fact, I just postponed it, but that's the rest. On
that, when you have what you like when God allows us to meet calamity.
Yep.
With serenity. Yeah. The only time I experienced that, I was at the hot plant. BJ, our old boss, he's wound tight. The plant was breaking. The plant was broke down. We were out there, and everybody was just going. The hot stone elevator came off, and everybody was scrambling. And I just started directing. Do this, do that, because this has happened before. On my, I've been there 20 years.
Right.
But I was watching, and just in the moment, I was sober, and I was like, these motherfuckers like chickens, right? With their heads cut off, scrambling. I got them. There was calamity,
right?
And I was serene. The guy, because I was spiritually fit, and we just got her,
Yeah, but that also goes back to the same thing that I just came from, right? I couldn't get my serenity in the calamity that I was in. I couldn't do it. I could not get it, no matter how hard I tried. I could not get it, and that's what made that final decision that I can't stay here. I can't, because no matter what I did, I would have left there even if this job hadn't come along, because when I was waking up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning with an argument going on with somebody that wasn't even in the room with me, I haven't been that way since I was drinking, right? I haven't been that way. And
so is this because you're not getting your way, or?
No, you know what, Brad?
Because you keep bringing the same guy to each job, so.
We talked about this, right? I said the same thing. Am I doing a geographical change?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so either, Brad. It's so funny you bring that up.
God brought you back to the same fucking position that you left from the first company, which was, but you're a different cat now.
But Brad and you bring that up, and
because you've asked me that 5 or 6 times, Rob, am I do this? No, you're not.
Am I doing a geographical change, right? Because I thought, Brad, and it's so funny you say that, because I literally had that discussion in my head. I'm the same guy. I'm not the same guy I was when I got out of rehab.
Not even close.
Not even close. I am not the same guy that left that job and went to my previous job. I'm not the same guy. I'm not, right? Where I'm at mentally is not even remotely close to that same person.
Oh, I know that.
Right.
Those first days you coming to my house, you were still fucking irritable.
I was brutal.
It was like a job
I
for
was
you.
control freak, right? Because nobody, at that point, nobody was doing what I was telling them to
fucking
do.
showing up at my house like it was quarter pointed.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of time there learning to be a different person, right? Also doing a job, you know. This change right here was very difficult for me for that reason, Brad, that you said that. And I think it's so funny you bring it up because Rob and I have spoken about it multiple times. I didn't want to do a geographical change from one job to another job to another job just to get out of my own way, right? But
if there's no change, there's no change. So sometimes you got to make shit.
The change was in me, right?
But you can't. The only reason I comment on this because I went through this with my wife the other day. You know, I used to run from shit,
right?
Before drinking. You know, this is when I was a little kid.
Right.
What do you mean?
When I was in school. You know, my parents were separated in school. You know, we had projects at school, and fucking I didn't want to do it, so I would fucking go run to my dad's house. Want to go live with my dad and go to school over there, just so I didn't have to complete that project.
Right.
You know, I try to make shit adjust around me. You know. And I had to learn.
So were you afraid? Why didn't you want to do the project? Because you're afraid you might fail?
I wasn't that fucking good at school. School wasn't my thing. That's why I had to go to work. And when I was a freshman, I went to work full time. It just, school wasn't, wasn't for me.
It goes back to this, Brad. The reason and I said it before, I'm a leader, right? I'm fucking good at it, right? I ain't afraid to get dirty. I'm not afraid to get in a truck. I'm not afraid to go sell fuel. I'm not afraid to do anything of that. But so I've got to be leading people. I love to teach people. I love to coach people. I love to see people be successful in what I teach them. I got 32 years of knowledge that I want to give to people.
But
you know what you have now that you didn't have?
What?
Patience.
Right.
A ton of it.
But the Larry before was such a fucking prick.
Right.
No one wanted to learn from you. No one could be, but the Larry that's now.
But that's what I'm getting to, right? But the job I was at.
Prick.
I was. I'm not going to fucking deny it. I was a son of a bitch. Because before I got sober, I would be telling people, do this, do that, do this. I don't want to do that. Now I want to coach somebody to do it, right? Or if they weren't doing it right, fuck it, I'll go do it myself.
And God wanted you to, but he had to, because they didn't,
right.
You didn't go look for this fucking job.
No.
They approached you. God opened a door.
Right.
And when God opens doors, what do?
We walk through it.
Goddamn right.
So what's so funny, the second day I was on this job, I'm driving around in a beautiful new truck that they just bought me, going to do
Beg you different.
What? It's all right.
It's not a Ford.
Shut up. I get a phone call from somebody going, "Hey, you left so-and-so?" And I go, "Yeah." "What are you going to do?" I was like, "What do you mean?" "Hey, get over here. I want you as a director of my transportation." And I'm like, "I've already went to work over here." "God, why didn't you call me?" I'm like, "I didn't go looking."
Yeah, they came.
I didn't go looking.
So let me ask you, so you got to go?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Here we go.
Wait a minute. Brad's the one that brought the question. Did that answer your question?
I just want you to,
you
said that you thought about it yourself, and that's good.
Right.
I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying
I'm glad you brought it.
But I know I've been around you long enough to know, and I know how that shit operates because I used to do the same thing. I've done it when I'm older, but
I had to go, Brad. I
believe you. The way you explain it, I believe you, but you can't always make a change like that.
No. And it's hard, right? It's, when you're as strong-headed as bull-nosed as I am, right? Because I'm the first one to say it. I'm a fucking strong neck, and I believe things need to be done a certain way. I have no fucking problem saying that. But I'm also at a point now where I can look at somebody else's opinion and value it, right? My frustration was coming in is I have a lot of experience, right? I'm not going to say opinions. I'm going to say what it is. I got years of experience at this job, doing this job.
You needed the 2 years in the previous job that you were just in, but you were fucking pigeonholed.
Oh, but God.
But you needed that to get you right-sized, and God used that to get you right-sized, and then door opened up, and now all your tools with proper attitude, now you can be a blessing, that now you can actually be a teacher, and people want to learn from you because you're not such a cocksucker.
I mean, how would you take But how would you take it if nobody would listen to you when you're trying to help them
I deal with it all the time.
Operate a loader.
He
I
does.
do it all the time, but not being sober and my patience, like
Right.
I got to sit back, and I didn't hire the help.
Okay, well, I guess that's the difference. I couldn't do it anymore.
Hey, I've thought about changing shit up, but
nobody value. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody valued. My opinions didn't mean fucking shit. My experience didn't mean shit, and I didn't work 30-some years in this industry for my.
Well,
for
and
actually
also
take a
they didn't.
shit.
I mean, you're pigeonholed.
Yeah.
Which you needed
Yeah.
for a first season. Also, the reason they pigeonholed you, the reason they had you there and they loved you there, they didn't want somebody else to have you.
Right.
That keeps you
That
off
was
the market. It was twofold.
Yeah.
And we recognize that.
Right.
So now, next question. Here we go. It says, no matter how far down the scale we have gone, no matter what type of drunk you were, we will see how our experience, the things we don't regret,
Right.
can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things. So we're now talking about uselessness. Do you guys feel that way?
that's why I recover out loud.
Oh,
Dude, say that again. I like that. I've never
I
heard that.
recover out loud.
yeah.
Hopefully, I can help somebody not
Well, you have. I mean,
go as low as I did or lose what I've lost, and
look at Matt, look at Eric. I mean, how you were months, and they really, I mean, I took them through the steps, but you really coached them through their day-to-day
that's not necessarily hold their hand, but
recover out loud.
be there for the hard times.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are ashamed, and I think that's where we go back to that clean word. People are scared to say fucking clean, because if you say you're clean, someone might think you're a fucking heroin addict.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Not because you were out fucking,
Which is the one drug I didn't do because that's
Coke.
a dirty drug. Just kidding.
but
I was always afraid of heroin.
it sucks that I made the choices I made. But if I could help someone,
What?
not go as low as we did,
Yeah, I got distracted when Brad said that. What was the question? That was fucking awesome, dude. Right there.
The feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear.
Yeah, I
We
don't
will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellow self-seeking. All these selves, all the selves on 13 of them on page 62.
And that's going back to what, that goes back to what Brad just
around.
asked me, right? Is I'm no longer selfish in what.
Well, all three of us
right.
get sober out loud.
Yeah, I'm no longer selfish about what my knowledge, when I was with the company, when I first came out of rehab.
I'm using that one, by the way.
Right. I love that one.
But I don't care if someone's talking about me on the road saying, "Oh, Brad's sober." Like, great. Put it out there. Tell everybody. I don't care.
Right. I don't really give a shit either. I'll talk about it.
When I go to meetings, I'll say my name.
Right.
My name's Brad Luke, and I'm still an alcoholic. Like, I don't care.
You know why I say Rob Thomas?
In case you wind up in a hospital and nobody knows who you are.
That's right. I am here to see Rob Thomas.
You told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come visit me.
I mean, I'm once again, this podcast's all over my personal social media.
How about this one, Larry? Okay. Our whole attitude and outlook upon
hold on
life
a
will
second.
change.
Hold on. Back that up.
What?
I was answering what he said a
What'd he
minute
say?
ago.
What'd he say?
Because now, fuck you. Now go on. Now I lost my fucking train of thought. There
Fear
goes
of
my
people.
HT.
Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us.
Oh, 100%.
Why did we fear people? What was it about people that we feared? What they thought about us?
You hit the nail on the head right there. I was always afraid of what people thought of me, my reputation. I was always afraid of that. Always. I still am from time to time.
Afraid of failure. Afraid
of failure is huge.
That's why I'd run to my parents. I'd run from mom's house to dad's house and not do the project because I didn't want to fail.
Right.
And I
still battle with.
Well, of course we were. I mean, it's a part of it.
I mean, it's not a fear. Well, it's still. Let me rephrase that. It is still a fear, but I know how to deal with that fear a little differently now. Right. I mean, I don't want to fail. Right. I don't want to fail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my steps and I'm going to walk through steps
Failure's
slowly.
good.
I'm going to fail.
Failure's good.
There's nothing wrong with it. You learn from them.
Yeah.
If you ain't failing, you ain't growing, man.
No, I don't. But how do we respond to those failures is a different story.
Absolutely.
When I lost my...
let me put it this way. If you got fired tomorrow, that's good, right?
Not that it's good.
You're going to go and do better again.
I don't know if I'll do better or not, but I know I'll have a place to land.
But you know how
I'm not worried about it. I'm not scared of it. I mean, I do. I'll go back to that. If I got fired tomorrow, I would be worried about what other people in the industry are saying about me, why I got fired. I would, because that's my job. That's where that's where in the industry that I'm in, right? In the industry I'm in, that shit. I mean, me leaving my last company and going to this one, it spread. right? I mean, it's bread.
Oh, me and Robin are the same thing. We
Right,
we might not know it, but our names are out there in our
Absolutely it
industry.
is. Absolutely it is, because you've worked your ass off to get that reputation to where you're at. So if you leave, you're just not a loader operator anymore. You're running the place. So you've earned that respect from other people. Other people know who you are. Same as me. I've earned that respect. I've put my time in. I've done all this shit that, I put in my time. So yeah, I don't want that reputation of being fired. I've never been fired from a job. Knock on wood. Ever been fired from a job. Ever. I've left for reasons that probably shouldn't have left. But, and I started going through my resume when I went to here. I was with one company for 14 years, another company for 14 years, bought my trucking company, didn't lose it. We just didn't work out well. That was the pinnacle of my alcoholism, when my alcoholism really started to take off, because that was the first time I really felt like a failure. That's the first time I really felt like a failure, and I wasn't.
Is that because of how open it was?
Myself.
Not just like an internal failure, like fuck, that kind of thing. This was
everybody in the industry knew it.
Right.
The way it got spun out inside the industry. So yeah, I mean,
the way you thought you were perceived in the industry, really drove it home.
Yeah, and it hurt. I'm gonna tell you, that fucking hurt.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I battled that for a long time. It wasn't until I got sober that I was able to let that go. Right. And I still talk to my partner this day. Right. We're still good friends. So it wasn't anything to do with him. Right. The company's still doing well, very well. It was a lot to do with where I was at personally, where he was at personally. He's doing fucking amazing. I'm doing fucking amazing. We're better apart. Right. We are. The company's better. Everything. So it wasn't that the failure of me at all. It's just the way it had to go. Right. And I'm okay with it. It's the way it went, and I'm okay with it today. You asked me that 4 years ago, that answer wasn't the same.
That'll lead us in right to the next question. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us.
Right.
We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Now, that's got nothing. This has got nothing to do. Of course, God gives us the strength to stay sober.
Right.
But that's not what he's talking about. Brad, what is God, and when you hear that, God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. We handle situations different today. What does that mean to you? What other ways does God...
That takes me back to serenity.
Okay.
Peace of heart and mind.
Right.
God knowing how to not get excited and go back to my old instincts.
Right.
Of
Hey,
how
often do you, like, throughout the day, do you say, man, I don't know, a lot of people say the serenity prayer. I usually say, God, thy will be done. Remove whatever. If I'm going through fear, resentment, anger, remove this from me, Lord, and just, bless them and change me. Then I'll go on. No. Do you talk to him in your mind?
Not as often as I should. I haven't got there yet. That's just how I don't know. I've told you before. It's like, I try not to bug people. I might fucking vent to you all day, but nowadays I can feel myself where I'm getting there, where I'm getting irritable and discontent, and I have to take a deep breath and realize that shit is not all in my control, and I have to.
Is that kind of like a gratitude list, or is that you just realize?
Yeah, it's just a lot of it. Sometimes is at work where I just, God, I feel like God is making me stronger and a better person more than I couldn't, and I thought I was, but if I just follow His path, I will get what I want out of as far as being stronger and a better leader. What I was doing wasn't working.
Right. Larry, what does God do for you that you can't do for yourself?
He gives me
in your life.
I mean, Brad said it right there. When I feel things are starting to get stressed, I have to turn my hands over and say, take this. I can't, because if I try to control that stuff.
Because we realize we're trying to take the reins here.
100%. And that goes back to my controlling shit, right? I try to control every situation. I was coming home the other day, and Katie and I were talking on the phone. And I bit her freaking head off over something just completely fucking asinine. And I literally had to, so she hung up. I can't talk to you right now. So she hung up, didn't hang up on me, but she just said, I can't talk to you right now. She hung up. I was being a complete, total fucking dick. And then, so I calmed down a little bit and I called her back. I said, babe, you didn't deserve that. I said what I needed to say. It wasn't 30 fucking minutes later. Same fucking shit. I'm biting her head off again for something fucking stupid. But what I realized is I was fucking over anxious about some stuff that was completely out of my hands, right? I can only do what I can do
in the moment.
But not even in the moment. I got a meeting tomorrow,
right,
that I've been waiting for 3 weeks.
The one that we talked about.
Yeah.
Having all of them together to get this shit straightened out.
I've been waiting for 3 days or 4 days for that. I haven't thought about it one time since they put it on the books to have the meeting.
That's pretty good.
Let it the fuck go. Because it's out of my hands now, right? What I wanted was this to happen. And I finally got it to happen.
And because you were frustrated that way it wasn't happening, you were biting people's heads off.
Right. I was biting people's heads off because it wasn't that it was out of control. It's just something that needed to happen. It made sense.
Well, it wasn't that it was out of control. It just wasn't in my control.
You motherfucker.
Hey, but that's growth that you call back.
It wasn't that it was out of control. I'm not trying to justify it or do it wrong or trying to quantify it. My point is that it had to happen, right? It was just logical that this meeting had to happen. The players of the meeting knew it had to happen. Nobody was putting it on paper to make it happen. I finally put my foot down and said, this has to happen quickly. And it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And once everybody.
Once he got what he wanted, then he could let go of it.
Why do you got to do that, motherfucker?
Next question.
Motherfucker.
So,
you fucking dick.
Okay, well, that's it. Are these extravagant promises? Yes, they are. Yep. It says we think not. So now, those are the 9th step promises, as we call them. I'm going to go to the 10th step, which are my what I consider my favorite. And now, every time you hear a we, there's a promise. So I'm going to break down the 10 steps. It says this thought, okay, after we work.
Are we big book thumping right now?
No, we're not. We're just
big book studying.
We're studying.
From the thumper.
Getting deeper into the book. Again, it says this thought brings us to step 10. After you've done your best to clean up the past, right? Mm-hmm. You're clean. As clean as you can be, you can look the world in the eye, right? Look your wife in the eye, look your coworkers, everybody to the best of your ability. It says this thought brings us to step 10. We continue to take personal inventory. Continue to set right, like Brad talks about, any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commence this way of living as we cleaned up the past. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow, Larry, in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue. It will continue for our lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, resentment, selfishness, dishonesty, and fear. We learned about those in the 4th step.
Yep.
When these crop up, we ask God to remove them. That's 6 and 7. Yep. Removal of defects of character. We discuss them with someone immediately. That's confession, step 5. Make amends quickly. Eat our crow hot if we harmed anyone. We learned about those in steps 8 and 9. It doesn't say
that in there.
It says we make amends quickly if we harmed anybody.
Right. That's fine.
Make amends quickly means eat your crow hot, motherfucker. Hot. That's steps 8 and 9. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance for others is our code. That's step 12. So if I'm doing my 10th step throughout my day properly, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 12. Right. But here it says now, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone.
My favorite part.
Even alcohol, as if alcohol is just a fourth, not even a forethought, it's just an afterthought.
Yeah.
For by this time, sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. That's a promise.
Right.
If tempted, we recoil from it as if from a hot flame.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's it. Just to think about a shot almost makes me vomit in my mouth.
It does.
We react sanely and normally. And we find that this has happened automatically. What is God doing for us that we could not do for ourselves? There's one of them.
Right.
We will see that our new attitude that Brad talked about towards liquor or life will be given to us without any thought or effort on our part. I should have read this before I asked you guys that question, but I knew I was going to come here. What does God do for us that we could not do for ourselves? Almost all these 10th steps, these promises that I'm reading, is what God does for us that we could not do for ourselves.
If we allow him to.
Well, here we go. Without any thought or effort, it just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation, right? We're not going down liquor aisles. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither prideful, cocky, nor are we afraid, fearful. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit.
Spiritual condition.
There you go. That is what God does for us. That is the things that God does for us we cannot do for ourselves.
If we allow him.
If we,
right.
And how do you stay in fit spiritual condition? Go back to page 84 and start doing, and once you've cleaned up the past.
Right. And that's what we talked about earlier about the regret thing. And I said, I don't have nor will I'm going to continue to have them because we do that. I do that stuff daily. At the end of my day, if I got anxiety in my stomach, it's probably because I said or did something that I shouldn't have done. Right. And I need to handle that immediately. Whether I need to apologize to somebody.
How do you handle that?
Fix something I said.
Well, I want to comment on what he's saying, you know, that because when some people say, well, how do you not regret that? To me, you did regret it at some point. But if you live with regret, you're living with it. You're letting it sit there, build up. You're living with it. It's still there. You got to let it go. So for me, when I say I don't regret it, I've let it. It is what it is.
Right.
And there ain't no changing it. I've owned it. And because if you still regret it today, you're still thinking about it and it's still affecting you. And
that's still poisoning your body.
Yeah. But you're carrying it.
Right.
Yeah, but listen to me. What you said right there, I think about shit that I do all the time. I think about it, right?
But what's it do?
It makes me want to not do it fucking again, right?
But yeah, I get that. We all know.
But I don't have regret for some of the shit I've said. Well, I don't have regret anymore. I had a ton of regret before I got into this program.
All I'm saying is some people, when you know, the carnage we've done in our lives, and if we say we don't regret it, especially like our wives, right. I was like, how's that motherfucker not regret that?
Right.
No, I understand what you're saying.
That motherfucker should eat dog shit. Like,
right.
But we're not saying it like we're arrogant assholes.
No.
We're just saying it is we've let it go.
Yeah.
We've worked through it. We know what we need to do now, today, to not have those anymore.
To not have to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like a lot of the stuff I've said and done in the past, like I said, I didn't do anything to personally harm anybody, but some of my words.
How about emotionally harm?
But that's what I was just getting at. But some of my words fuck some people up, right? I mean, it made it. And am I so egotistical that I think it lasted for, and they still are? No, fuck no.
I'm sure there's people carrying shit that you've said.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'd hope not. I'd hope not.
No, because that's on them.
Right.
For carrying, however,
I think I've cleaned all that up.
Yeah.
I think I have. And if somebody comes up to me,
some people are super sensitive.
Well, if some people come up, if I had somebody come up to me and said, "Hey, you said this to me, 10 years ago at this and this and this," I'd have to say, "Let's talk about that for a minute."
But you see how, so being sober now, do you see how more you could tell how sensitive people are actually?
Oh, 100%. I'm a sensitive fucker. I'm a sensitive fucker.
Almost one of the sensitive guys I know.
I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive of how I talk.
Do you know the biggest assholes are the most sensitive?
I believe it. You're
because we're masking it is why.
There's some truth behind that.
There is. There's a ton of truth.
Brad is getting a little more desensitized because he's about people's feelings. Because would you just say, fuck them, get over, they need to man up.
I mean,
no, but you're right.
This is like when we're meetings and they're on their third or fourth fucking trial and they're repeat offenders.
I have a hard time with that.
Fucking figure it out.
I have a hard time with
You're coming back for a reason because you know it was working.
Right.
So either go get finished, like Rob would say, and then come back. Like, you ain't done yet.
Right.
If you ain't done, this ain't going to work.
Right.
It's not going to work.
Brad and I are on the exact same page for that. Right.
But I used to not be that way in the beginning. I would be like, when we were at that one, and the guy's like, I'm the most fucking important person. Fuck you. And this guy's on like day 4. And I'm like, fuck, that's fucked up. And now I'm like, yeah, I understand what the guy's saying. Figure it out.
Right. But one of our brothers, okay, and let me not even say that. There was a woman who's been in and out of the rooms and I've known her for years. Come back in with 4, gave me, tapped me on the knee. I got 4 days a day, and then I listened to her share and her past. Okay. The God she was taught, that if you look, taste, touch, you're going to hell.
Right,
your parents try to scare you through that. Her past, the things she did, she cannot let go of. Will not let go of.
Will not.
And will not stay sober because of it. She knows what she needs to do.
She hasn't went through the steps correctly.
I don't know, but her regrets. Right. That's why we will not regret the past.
Right.
That's the word I regret, and it's just overwhelming. She cannot, will not stay sober.
Look at it like this: when you guys were growing up, and your dad was your father teaching you, was he stern or was he fucking gentle on you?
He was stern.
My dad was stern.
Okay, so we understand. Right. So the way I got to look at these guys coming in here, we can't be fucking soft to them.
I can't.
I mean, there's some. If it's this is your first go around.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But he still needs a man up or be a woman and do what you're being asked and be sure that you're ready.
Right.
Because if you ain't ready, it ain't gonna work.
Right.
You can't come in here like our other friend, I still don't think I'm an alcoholic, but I'm popping breath mints before I go get in the fucking car.
Why?
So if you ain't an alcoholic, then why the fuck you hiding it? Don't make any sense to me.
You're right.
I hid it.
Right.
Well, once I came to that conclusion, I was hiding. Yeah, you're right. I'm a fucking alcoholic. I'm just, I don't know. My dad was stern with me, so I think when I figured this shit out, that's when I see Rob being the way he is. Like that's
I needed that. I needed it.
I don't need
for sure.
If I go back out and come back in.
So would you call that? Because this is one thing. This is another pet peeve of mine. Rob. Because if someone needs a hug, I give them a hug.
Oh, for sure.
If they need a pat on the back, I give them that. But people say,
they need a punch in the mouth. We'll give them a punch in the mouth too.
There's one coming for somebody. But anyway, they call that tough love, and I can't fucking stand that. It's just love.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter which way it comes.
It's not tough.
It's not. It's just love.
It's just love.
Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't say it.
Well, that's why I was going to say, if you didn't care, you wouldn't punch them, love them, or hug them at all. Right. So if you're giving them time, you love them, right? And I don't know.
You got to know your audience, because one day I was at Brad's place, I was getting stuff, and this is maybe a year ago, maybe not. Maybe it was a while. And I was loading up stuff in my truck to go get delivered, and he goes, "Hey," he drives up. "What's wrong?" "Nothing." And he goes, "Fuck you." And I stopped. He's never said that to me. I looked at him. Huh? And he goes, "I can tell by your body language and the way you're hopping on equipment and off equipment. If you don't want to tell me, just don't tell me, but don't lie to me."
Right.
And he was right. And then when I told him kind of what was going on, I got it vented and felt better.
Right.
But that's because someone loved me enough to tell me the truth. And that's not tough love. That's just
But that's just like us sitting right here around this table. It's the same thing. If
we
didn't care, we'd be out doing what we want to do. But it's the exact
same thing. Why I bit Katie's head off twice. And shortly after that is when I got the phone call to discuss what needed to be discussed.
And then you were good.
Then I was fine. Then everything was settled.
Larry, you know what we need to do? Me and you need to get together and learn how to be better lovers.
Oh, I have no problem with that.
I ain't talking about in the bed.
Oh.
No, wait. Sure. We all need that'd be a great.
I fucking struggle with it. I'm struggling with it right now.
That would be
we're
doing that next. That's the next one is how do and I mean.
I
mean.
That whole I'm a fucking man ego and shit.
Right. No.
I hear you. You've brought it up a few times, and it's
how do we meet our wives' needs emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically? Worry about that. That'll take care of itself. But emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, how do we meet
touch?
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, because intimacy.
Yeah, I ain't talking.
Intimacy can or cannot involve sex.
No, in my mind, it does.
It can or cannot. But intimacy.
But if we want it to lead to sex, we need to have the touchy-feely and make them feel special.
Yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise,
without motive.
Because the reward's not.
But without the motive.
Because what did I share on? What did I share on Saturday? That's the key part, Brad.
Yeah.
And coming from being molested and sexually promiscuous. I made it a job. I made it a duty. I turned sex into a job for anybody. That's not how's that enjoyable?
It's not normal.
No, and it's not enjoyable.
No.
So and then through these steps and other men, I really had to learn how to. God had to do for me what I couldn't do for myself. He had to really tone me down.
We're getting into a whole other topic.
No, but that's a great topic.
It is.
How do men?
I'd love to do it. We do need to table this and remember that right there, because this is a good topic, and I'd love to go down it. But I didn't learn it until I got sober. There is so much that I would love to go down that, because I've done a lot of work on that part.
I thought I had before when I was drinking. I had the dog at the house, the fucking white fence,
none of that
everything.
Shit means anything.
And I thought I had it all lined out. But now I'm sober, and now all that's evolving again. And now I just need to be.
So let's table that.
A loving husband.
Right. Let's table that, because I got a lot I want to talk about right there. You brought up a lot, and it's stuff that I've been.
Larry, we'd be fucking good if we get this shit mastered.
Right.
Well, I mean,
why are we losing our shit?
I don't know, but I mean, I got a lot. Once again, this is a whole other topic. You need to write down some thoughts. I'll write down some thoughts. And in fact, probably a big chunk of this, I'm going to probably leave off of this podcast, because
they might want to listen next time.
Well, no. I mean, I'm talking about certain just rambling on for me, but there is a ton that I could talk about, and I've worked with, trying to I've spent a lot of time trying to learn what you just said.
This is where I'm struggling.
I have read a ton, Brad. I have read a ton on how to better be an intimate husband, right? So,
And we can see, we'd be like,
I love it. I love being more intimate with my wife. And I'm not talking about sex whatsoever.
No. But 2 weeks ago, the pastor called up because Tuesday night Bible study was, or he said, well, on Saturday it's going to be marriage. He called a millennial, a Gen Xer, and a baby boomer. I was a Gen Xer about marriage, and the 2 quotes I gave him came from Bonnie. The first, because she had shared when we were walking the dog a while back. I told you guys a story.
Right.
We've never told each other for anything. Because if I tell her, she tells me.
Never heard that before.
Yeah, we've never told each other anything. Because if she told me, hey, you need to go mow the lawns, I would point out where the gas can is and the lawnmower, fuck after it.
Right.
And if I told her to get in the kitchen and rattle some pots and pans, I better duck because there's some pot and pans coming and they're not food in them. We've never done that because love don't speak like that in our home.
It don't.
2, she says, I can't read your mind, and Rob, you can't read mine.
Right.
So say what you mean what you say, but leave your feelings at the door.
Right.
Let's get, so I could, when I got sober, hey babe, what can I do? This love language, that I read that stupid, no, I shouldn't say stupid. The Men From Mars, that one. Right. What can I do?
Yeah.
What am I doing good? What am I not doing good?
So I don't know how you were raised, Larry or Rob, but I talked about it in my story. My dad wasn't like a lover to his significant other. I didn't learn that.
Not at all.
That's something that
you
never saw it.
Yeah,
never
see it.
Never
seen how to work your ass off, and that's what you do. You provide. You put a roof over the table. There's food.
Well, you got that down, Pat.
Yeah, I learned that. That was pounded in my head.
You and I both. Yeah.
My dad never was that affectionate.
I never saw it with my grandma and grandpa.
What's weird is I like to be touchy-feely. Like, fuck.
See, I do too, but my wife doesn't. She's not a cuddler, hugger.
But mine won't do it unless I do it.
Oh, really?
Hey, we're going down the wrong road, guys. Hey, let's get.
No, it's a good road. We got to get there.
It's a good road, but this, I'm over here biting my tongue because there's so much on this that I feel could be a great.
Coming back.
Yeah, I think there's so much here that would be helpful to guys coming out of their sobriety.
Should we have a woman here?
I don't know. It'd be a little. I think it'd be a little bit more difficult. If we do it, if we did it, it'd have to be a woman in sobriety.
I'm still thinking about what you said, or people coming out of sobriety, like. It's just not being sober. There's other hurdles.
There's so much
that we gotta.
There is.
It's the same thing you
mold
said.
Ourselves to.
It's the same thing you said about when we get sober. About we thought there was food on the table, roof over the head. Is that all? That's all there is to being a man?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
Life's short, man. I want to be happy for the rest of what I got.
Here's the other thing, and I'm going to leave with this. That woman that I have downstairs, I know goddamn good and well I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, and I'm not going to spend the rest of my life sitting in a room not being able to carry on conversations. I want to be intimate.
Then you said it
verbally.
Wrong. You want to.
What did I say?
You said you will.
I want to. Sorry. Thank you, Brad.
You said you will, like it's a 100% set in stone.
No, I want to. I want to. But in order for us to do that, we have to be comfortable with each other in the room together, right? And I can't sit in a room with somebody that I can't carry on a conversation with, right? Those are big.
And also we can't love, we have to learn to love ourselves.
Absolutely.
Like, no one can love ourselves more than we can.
Right.
And if we can't do that, then we don't deserve to love anybody.
Nope, you're right.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, let's get out of here because we're going into deep.
Because
we're going to go back.
Jesus said, "Love thy neighbor as thyself."
Right.
Which means you can't love them until you love yourself properly.
But it also says on that.
But if you don't love yourself, you can't fix yourself.
Right. Exactly.
That's 100%. And you ain't gonna love somebody else until you love yourself. And when we were in
our addiction, alcohol, we loved ourselves, but it was just
selfishly
in a self-destructive, weird way.
Selfishly,
we loved ourselves so much that we just kept
destroying ourselves. Destroying ourselves. Hey, you can reach out to us at recoveryunfilteredpodcast at gmail.com. That's recoveryunfilteredpodcast at gmail.com. Hey, get the word out. We're picking up steam with a lot of listeners, but you know what? We're still in fighting there's so many more people that need to hear this. They need the hope. They need some help. Get this out there. This is something that anybody can do. Trust me, if I can get sober, as fucking hard-headed as I am, and this two fuckers sitting here with me can get sober, anybody can get fucking sober.
Because God is that powerful.
That's right. It is an incredible program that we live, and we love being sober.
And I'm always out there. You could always reach out to 2 Shots and a Beer at Yahoo. You're struggling. You need someone to talk to. You're going through a rough time. Right. Your wife kicked you out or you left, give me a shout out. I can give you a call. And
life ain't over. Life's just beginning if you get into this program.
I can hold your hand on the roller coaster.
It's better than the merry-go-round you've been on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. Thank you for joining us today.
We hope you learned something today that will help you.
If you did not, come back next week and we'll try again.
If you like what we heard, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like what you heard, kiss my... You can't say that, can you? Anyway, if you don't like what you heard, go ahead and tell us that too. We'll see what we can improve. We probably won't change nothing, but do it anyway.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Come back next week and hopefully something will be different and something will sink in. Take care.
This has been Recovery Unfiltered.